I'm hoping for an early spring. I don't know about you, you guys in the studio, but early spring, I'm really hoping for that. But only time can tell, I guess, right?
I'm actually team extended winter, but I think when we're actually in a true winter, let's keep it going. When you can actually do all the skating, the snowshoeing, the skiing, the ice fishing, might as well keep it going. So 15 days now, we've consecutively failed to break the freezing mark in Toronto, and this isn't just going to be stopping anytime soon. We could easily double this. We're going to have a couple close calls. Now, back in 2015, this is very reminiscent of the winter of 14-15 when, we had 32 days, but the good news, I was looking back at the numbers there, and April 2015, we had 3 days above 20 degrees. So just because it's a long winter doesn't mean we don't get those early tastes of warmth as well. Now, before we get to any warmth, we're going to be dealing with a whole lot more cold. Instead of 20 degrees, we're going to be looking at minus 20 degrees to start off Saturday in the GTA. Some areas, this is going to be the coldest night so far because of that lake ice. Now, Toronto, you're going to be flirting with the freezing mark, part of the GTA, by Friday and then next week. But that nosedive, we can lock that in. The question is, how low does it go? The forecast over the weekend for next weekend, we had minus 18. Now we're about minus 15, minus 16, 17 across the GTA, depending on where you are. And we'll be actually about the same as Northern Ontario, which isn't very common. Now, the normal should be around minus 1 to the freezing mark this time of year. So this is well below where we should be. Not very often you have to jump up to Kenora to find the national warm spot. Now, we do have a story to get to. Let's check in there.
As February 2nd approaches, we eagerly anticipate Groundhog Day, when a rodent's shadow supposedly determines our winter's fate.
The folklore goes that if the groundhog sees its shadow, we have 6 more weeks of winter, no shadow, early spring.
While this tradition has captivated communities around North America, from Punxsutawney Phil to Wiarton Willie, the groundhogs have become unlikely stars with devoted followers eagerly awaiting their predictions.
Oh no! Can we really trust these furry forecasters? Let's take a look at their track record.
In Canada, February falls within the winter season, and predicting 6 more weeks of winter is almost a given. To assess the accuracy of these predictions, we shifted our focus to March, a month that symbolizes the promise of spring, and examined the overall temperatures to see when Canadian groundhogs got it right. First up is Wiarton Willie, Canada's most celebrated groundhog since 1956, with a disappointing 29% success rate. Next is Shubenacadie Sam, the first groundhog to make a prediction in North America each year based on time zone, boasting a 58% success rate. Moving on to Fred Lamarmont, Quebec's furry forecaster, sits at a historical success rate of 36%. Balzac Billy, known as the prairie prognosticator, and not a real groundhog but a person in a mascot costume, sits at 42%. Meanwhile, Manitoba Merv, also not a real groundhog but a puppet made from a golf club cover, is a local legend with an impressive 73% success rate.
No shadow, all right, no shadow yet.
When considering these numbers, perhaps Manitoba Merv's prediction may pique your curiosity this year, but overall, the accuracy of these forecasts aren't impressive enough to change your winter plans around.
So let's enjoy the fun of it all, but when you want your real seasonal forecast, you know where to look.
With the Olympics coming up, I think we should also maybe do a challenge of Canada versus, what's the Punxsutawney Phil, Nicole?
Punxsutawney Phil, yes.
Which climate do you think you would fare the best in? Ontario, prairies, or Atlantic Canada for the winter? I know you're not a huge fan of the cold.
No, okay, but I would say Ontario.
Well, then you're in luck.
Yeah, exactly. You like the groundhog. You were saying that you think that they are adorable, but do you like that they forecast the weather too?
Well, I don't necessarily like that they're coming for my job, but yes, I do. I always get a little excited when you see them running around the fields and and the prairie dogs in the prairies. I'm surprised no one's taken on a prairie dog.
Well, we'll see. There's still time, of course. Now, of course, there's the Groundhogs that have been making predictions. Shubenacadie Sam bowed out because of the weather, because they didn't want it to be unsafe for people to travel, so declared an early spring. But also Lucy the Lobster in the east has declared an early spring. So updates coming in. Updates for unofficial snowfall totals so far as of this morning. Halifax 11 centimeters, just one in Moncton. Wow, that's quite a difference. And 24 centimeters for St. John's and counting. As we take a look at the radar, the darker blues showing the heavy snowfall rates, 2 to 3, 5 plus centimeters per hour across the Avalon. But also we're seeing some mixing too. So that is going to certainly impact the snowfall totals around Trepassey, for example, in the south. Could see some mixing, even a period of persistent rain through the afternoon as the center of this low is offshore, but moving out to sea slowly through today. Taking a look at the additional snowfall forecast for today in a moment. But let's look at St. John's, Newfoundland webcam here. Things looking not great on the roads, not shoveled here in particular, and also the blowing snow creating whiteout conditions. Oh, there's that car moving through. It's always a pickup truck, right? They can get through anything. Taking a look at the additional snowfall, Cape Breton 5 to 10 centimeters, an additional 30 to 40 potentially for Metro St. John's. So we'll continue to watch that, plus the winds. The peak winds have gone up to 81 kilometers an hour for Sydney in the past 24 hours, 76 for St. John's, and that could inch a little higher through today with those northeast winds. This is a nor'easter, folks, so that northeast wind, the classic flow, is going to be inundating Newfoundland through today with gusts potentially at about 100 kilometers an hour or higher at some point throughout this afternoon. Wave heights are high. There's coastal flood warnings across Nova Scotia, but also high for Newfoundland as well. So that's a concern until Tuesday as things start to improve. Take a look at our afternoon highs. The zero there in St. John's, a little bit warm around Grand Bank, and that's why we're seeing the chance of the rain, but also it's that slushy, heavy, wet snow. Let's take a look at this here. Halifax this morning on Groundhog Day. Yep, snow covered and windy. Oof, don't want to be out in that. Parts of Nova Scotia have school closure. This is the third Monday in a row for many. We take you to Paradise, Newfoundland, where things here are looking pretty wintry. You just want to see the snow plows out today. That's it in St. John's. Things are shut down for good reason. We take you to Victoria Fenn Alvarado, who's in Wiarton, Ontario. We are waiting Wiarton Willie's prediction for today. Looks like you've got a friend to talk to too.
Yes, the crowd, everybody's in good spirits, even though it is cold here. How are you feeling this morning?
Tired and cold.
Yeah. So you're from Wiarton, you were telling me. Have you been to Groundhog, to this Wiarton Willie Festival before?
Yeah, likely about 35 years.
Wow. And what are you hoping for? Early spring?
Early spring, for sure.
Yeah, that's what I figured, considering the winter's been pretty harsh up here. How has it been so far this winter for you?
Oh, it's been a lot.
Yeah?
There hasn't been much sun, so the last couple days have been nice with the sun.
The sun was nice yesterday for sure, but those temperatures are certainly really chilly. Is this amount of snow normal? These snow banks, they're pretty high.
Oh, we've had an excessive amount this year.
Yeah, for sure. And all right, well, good luck with the prediction. I hope that it is an early spring as well. However, though, we have some people in the studio that are hoping for a longer winter, so that's unfortunate. But good, have some fun. Have some fun with the crowd. I'm having fun with the crowd here. Thank you so much for speaking with me. A different story, though, out with the nor'easter with Nathan. We're going to send it to Nathan now. Nathan, what is it like out there? Because a different scene where I am for sure.
Yes, I'm jealous, Victoria, because I love it. I love the crowd, you know, the enthusiasm for the Groundhogs. It's all in good fun, of course, but I can't be there today. I can't be in Shubenacadie. Shubenacadie is working from home. That's the new term. Instead of working from home, she decided to take, the day inside because it's too treacherous out here to get, kids and crowds traveling up there to Shubenacadie. There have been some incidents reported on the 102, very slippery. I've got no one to bring in an interview here. I'm all out by my lonesome down here in Point Pleasant Park, and you can see the wind, howling over the water there, this is moving towards Newfoundland, and that means ferry cancellations from Marine Atlantic. There won't be any sailings between Cape Breton and Newfoundland today. You want to be hunkered down, especially in St. John's throughout the day today, because it will continue. You'll see some much more impressive snow totals than here where I stand in Halifax, but still quite windy out there. Many kids across the HRCE are on a 2-hour delay, but you want to check with your school board, because there's some widespread cancellations. Places like Chignecto Central, Strait Regional School Board, those are closed if you're in that school. And also the CSAP French schools in Halifax closed for the day, so they're staying home. Now I'll send it back into you.
I don't know if I'm just out of the loop, but I've never heard of schools delaying starts. I thought it was all or nothing. Either you're staying home or you're in on time. Maybe that's an Atlantic Canada thing, or maybe I'm just living under a shell. But Atlantic Canada, you're going to be staying in this winter pattern for at least the next 10 days. We'll see what the groundhogs say about after that, but the next 10 days, the abnormal cold is going to be focused over the lower Great Lakes into the Maritimes. And look at the abnormal warmth counterbalancing that on the west side of the country. Alberta, you've had some tastes of warmth on and off over the last few weeks. In fact, I've been looking at stats from just January as a whole, and have a look at the national hot and cold spot. We had a 70-degree temperature spread over the month of January. Claresholm, Alberta in the foothills taking the top prize there, and Mayo taking the bottom prize, if you consider that. And then on the other side of the Arctic, they weren't minus 50. In fact, Iqaluit, for the second January in a row, broke their record for the warmest January on record. We were talking a lot over the last few weeks about the Greenland Ridge. It was pumping all this warmth up into Baffin Island and Nunavut, and this is the consequences. So we saw that big temperature spread across the north. Now, in the south, how about Kirkland Lake? They had their coldest temperature in a long time. Kirkland Lake had a spread of 47 degrees. So Southern Ontario doesn't get quite like that, but we're going to get colder than we have been because of all that ice closing up the lake. So Kirkland Lake, you can spread some of that cold down to the south. They might not thank you for it, but it's here. And I think Wiarton will be right in line for some of that cold air coming across Georgian Bay, and that's where Victoria is. We're counting down the time for Wiarton Willie to come on out, but it's always surprising. It's such a small town of Wiarton. Yeah, Owen Sound always gets more attention there. It's an awesome town as well, but Wiarton Willie, it's always worth the extra, 20-minute drive up there and to check out Willie all year round. He has his little homestead set up there. Not quite the same audience for the rest of the year, but he's there nonetheless. So I'll go out to Victoria in Wiarton. How's it going? Are we getting any updates there? It looks like everyone's getting the warm-up dance going.
We're doing the warm-up dance right now. Everybody's doing their morning stretches. We're all waking up. This is really waking me up, and it's keeping me warm, in fact. Everybody's having a good time. How are you guys doing? What? How are you doing? Good. Are you having fun? Warming up, and that is the key. That is what everybody's doing. How are you feeling? You guys keeping warm?
Beautiful day.
Beautiful day. See, regardless of how cold it is, everybody has good spirits. Everybody is awaiting the Wiarton Willie prediction. I'm sorry, it is extremely loud as people are just dancing in the background behind me. So we're going to keep dancing here in Wiarton. I'll send it back to you in the studio, Nicole. Maybe you got to do your warm-up dance in the studio too?
I'll try. I'm warm in here. I know you're not, but you're doing great. And I mean, I wish I had that many people hyping me up every day at the studio, being like, let's go, let's go. Question coming in, why do we have Groundhog Day? Why on February 2nd? So I'm going to just read this here. And it is an ancient tradition with the earliest known recordings dating back to around 350 AD. The celebration dates back to Candlemas Day, a Christian holiday observed on February 2nd, and Candlemas marked the midpoint between the winter solstice and the spring equinox. The real reason the groundhog comes out on this day has nothing to do with meteorology. It's more biology because they've been hibernating since October, but the time February comes around, groundhogs are getting ready and looking for a mate. So that is why it happens, and we have our predictions rolling in. Shubenacadie Sam called it last night, canceling festivities, but in early spring, the weather is just too dangerous for people to get out to the festivities, but we're waiting for all the other groundhogs to reveal their predictions through the day, which we will be doing now. We have revealed our unofficial snow totals so far for Atlantic Canada. Halifax sitting at 11 centimeters, St. John's 24 and counting. So this was updated within the last hour or so. So we'll see that number climb up as more snow is moving across the Avalon, St. John's towards Gander. Western Northern Newfoundland seeing less amounts of snow. The center of the low is offshore actually, but just that wraparound effect and those northeast winds are pummeling in, bringing Newfoundland and Cape Breton the hardest hit situation for today. A zoomed in look at St. John's. Just want to show you that we're still going to be seeing light snow even into overnight tonight, and the strong gusty winds will create reduced visibility until this slowly moves out through the day tomorrow. And with wind gusts potentially in St. John's getting close to 100 kilometers an hour or higher, that's just creating the whiteout conditions. It's not a light fluffy snow, it's certainly a heavy wet snow. So, you know, it's slushy, it's heavy to shovel, the whole bit, and it's blowing around. And we also have the risk in the south where snowfall totals are lower for the forecast because we're seeing mixing, even rain, ice pellets, etc. I showed this earlier, but if you're just joining us, the current conditions are looking like this. -2 for St. Anthony, -1 for St. John's. But let's go to the Sunshine State, where they also have been dealing with the cold and snow, even in Orlando, because of the same sort of setup that we have here. -2 for Tallahassee this morning. How about that, Nathan? Where would you rather be, Halifax or Tallahassee at -2?
I'll take Halifax. That cracks me up because it's just, imagine you get on a flight, you're like, I'm going to go down to sunny Orlando, get away from winter, and it's that cold. Bring your mittens there as well. But here we are. I mean, in Halifax, 11 centimeters, not seeming like too much, but there's already quite a big snowpack from the past 2 storms. And when you couple that with the wind now, it is blowing everywhere, as you can see out here. So the clouds have something to contend with. Now, we were talking groundhog. Shubenacadie Sam stayed in the hole today. Didn't want to get people out to the ceremony. But Lucy the lobster's a little more hardy down in Barrington. They went ahead with the ceremony. They didn't do it right next to the ocean where they usually do it. They kept her close to Captain Cat's Lobster Shack. And when she came out, there was no shadow, so early spring. The animals of Nova Scotia agree. Early spring, we could use it. And yes, we're on a 2-hour delay for schools here in Halifax. That's a testament to forecasting. We know that this system moving on, we trust that. So in 2 hours time, the kids will be able to get out there, but you still want to be cautious, Kevin.
You got a friend out there behind you. It looks like the Husky's enjoying a lot more than you. You know, Nate, I was looking at the wind models yesterday, and yeah, gusts of 70 kilometers per hour, but offshore. So it's interesting to see how strong the wind is, but the water doesn't look overly rough behind you, not like it would be if it was an onshore wind. Now, we'll be dealing with a little bit of wind in southern Ontario, but more a matter of a wind shift. So actually, the southwest wind ahead of this little bit of a cold front today, that's going to be putting our temperatures right back to where they were on Sunday, around -5. And then we get back to some lake effect. Yeah, believe it or not, even with how cold it's been over the last 3 weeks, the lakes are still open enough and mild enough that we can get some convection across them. Lake Erie, of course, is closed, but Lake Ontario, Lake Superior, pretty much open. So the snow belts have been living up to their expectations and their standards. Sault Ste. Marie, Wawa, Muskoka, Barrie, Orillia, Owen Sound, Kincardine, everyone's been getting into it, and it's been prolonged. Look how many days we have failed to break the freezing mark. A far cry from the record set back in 77. I hear the 70s was a great decade for music and a terrible decade for weather. When you look at the amount of snow and the heat waves and the cold, it would have been an interesting decade for a meteorologist. But for the time being, we're just going to have to deal with the decreasing temperatures. By the time we get to the weekend, our forecast back down to minus 18 for Toronto. It's going to vary a little bit when you're down near the water. So Victoria, Wiarton, you might be moderated a bit by Georgian Bay, even though it is closing up. So maybe you want to stick it out in Wiarton. Maybe you want to look for some houses up there instead of coming back to the city. What do you think?
And lots of snow here, definitely different than where I live in Toronto. But here, everybody is in good spirits. Everybody's having so much fun here at the Wiarton Willie Festival. People started flooding in early in the morning, around 6:30 this morning. We started people flooding in at 7 o'clock. We saw fireworks even, and that is the way to wake up Willie and wake up the whole community and get everybody all for the big prediction. Spectacular fireworks show, I must say. This is my 4th year in a row now at the Wiarton Willie Festival, and every year I look forward to the fireworks and the amazing atmosphere that is the Wiarton Willie Festival. It's such a unique experience here, and I really encourage anyone, if you have never been to a Groundhog Day festival in your region, find the nearest one and head there, because it is quite the fun little adventure, I should say. Speaking of adventure, everybody right behind us, we could turn the camera around, Dave, and we'll try to show some of the crowd here. As you can see, everybody is all anticipating the big prediction. Will Wiarton Willie see its shadow or not? Are you hoping for an early spring, everybody, or are you waiting for more winter? What are you looking for?
An early spring, please.
Has the winter been rough here?
Yes, it has.
Yeah, how are you feeling today, though?
I'm feeling great.
Yeah. You're all bundled up. Everybody's all bundled up, and I think everybody has some smiles on their face, regardless of the cold, right?
Yep.
Oh, great. Well, amazing.
They have sent messages.
Yeah, so the crowd here, everybody's all anticipating the big prediction. Around 8 o'clock, Wiarton Willie will make the reveal. Wiarton Willie is not yet on stage, but when he is, we will have all the action live here. So stay with us. Nicole, I'll send it back to you in the studio. What are you hoping for, Nicole? Early spring, just like me, or what?
Yes, of course. Early spring. Although I do love winter, we're skiing, so it's a lot of fun, but it has been cold. I mean, it's cold in Wiarton. Maybe that's why we're getting a little bit of the stopping of the camera. Just out of Puxatawny Phil's prediction is that it is more winter. Of course, that is the famous groundhog that is featured in the movie Groundhog Day with Bill Murray. Such a classic. So more winter that has been declared. We'll wait for the rest of our groundhogs here in Canada. Shubenacadie Sam, early spring, which was called last night, if you're just joining us. Taking a look at this here, we had a huge storm move up the U.S. eastern seaboard. A nor'easter barreled across the east coast of the U.S., moved towards the Maritimes through yesterday. And this morning, this is a look at St. John's, Newfoundland. The Avalon getting the brunt of this storm. High snowfall rates, low visibility. By contrast, let's take you to a live shot here of Corner Brook. There it goes. A lot clearer. Good road conditions, better for travel, a little bit misty, but that is on the western shores where we are seeing conditions not as bad, obviously, because the low is not moving as far inland towards the western shores. Taking a look at our peak wind gusts over the past 24 hours, St. John 76 over 100 in parts of Newfoundland. So we'll continue to watch this, and I think we'll see the winds even amp up more right out of the northeast as this continues to track out. And then the winds will sort of shift direction as it departs and leaves us behind on Tuesday with variable clouds for the Maritimes and the cloudy skies across Newfoundland. It will eventually move out through today, but leaving behind that 30 to 40 centimeters in St. John's, potentially in the south, less amounts because we're seeing some mixing already and temperatures just covering up above the freezing mark. Estimated wave heights are high, even into early tomorrow morning across the shorelines of Newfoundland. So just keep that in mind. Also for Nova Scotia on the south coast, we have coastal flooding potentially. So it's a whole bag of everything. Now, Halifax was in the track to see heavier snowfall than what has fallen as of yesterday, but the track moved a little bit further south. So you were spared with 11 11 centimeters, but still Nova Scotia is seeing the travel interruptions, the school closures, and as you move further east, we do have the winter storm warnings, Cape Breton in that, and the snowfall warnings too. Halifax will see these wind gusts through today. Notice it tapering off as we get you into the overnight hours and early Tuesday. Halifax is where we find Nathan Coleman, where you're down by the water, so a little bit windier. You're looking good. You're looking well dressed for what's going on.
I am. I was ready for this because I knew you need to have the balaclava because the wind can just take that warmth right from your face or any exposure. You want to have that be all covered up this morning, especially with the kids heading to school. A 2-hour delay. This is some heavier impacts in Cape Breton, of course, and Newfoundland. Typically, when we saw this happening, it's shifting east. I might get sent up to Sydney, but I'm flying to Yukon tomorrow. I'm heading up there for an episode of Experiencing Canada, so looking forward to that. But as I look at the board now, Halifax Stanfield, there are cancellations and delays, so you want to call and check ahead. I should be okay. I've got 24 hours before my flight heads out, so they'll have that cleared up by then. But also, some delays with Marine Atlantic. They won't be sailing back and forth between Cape Breton and Newfoundland, so you'll be waiting it out there, and especially when you move further east in Newfoundland, you'll see some heavy impacts in St. John with the snow. Not quite Snowmageddon as we saw, which was around Groundhog Day many years ago, but it is pretty high totals, could get over 50 centimeters, and that orange warning, I'm used to getting the yellow warnings here, haven't experienced an orange yet, but orange warning for St. John's, Kevin.
Yeah, it's interesting. This is the first winter we've had to deal with the yellows and the reds and the orange criteria for those warnings. I haven't seen any red snowfall or winter storm warnings quite yet. That'll be an interesting threshold, and see who gets it first. Who will it be? Halifax, you could potentially be that, but just not this time around. We're going to tie you in with the Great Lakes here to see if you're going to be dealing with any of that purple, that -20 air that's coming in. Now you're dealing with that wind, as we all just saw there with Nate, but you're going to have to wait a few more days if you're wanting that cold to come in. I don't think many people do want that cold to come in, but by the time we get to the weekend, you're actually back to a bit of an onshore flow. So you'll be moderated while the Great Lakes and Quebec will potentially see their coldest day so far. Toronto, we've had 2 days at -11, 1 day at -12. I think it's a lock to say that we're going to be colder than that on Saturday. It's just a matter of, will it be closer to -15, potentially -18. We haven't had a daytime high colder than -18 since that brutal cold snap back in 2015. And before that, you had to go back to 1994. It doesn't happen very often that we're in the minus in Fahrenheit for a daytime highs. So just through the next couple of days, a little bit of flurry action, especially for the snow belts. We aren't looking at any Colorado lows or Texas lows, or certainly no nor'easters in the Great Lakes, Nicole. So that's good news, because I know you've been traveling back and forth to the snow belt for your skiing adventures. So at least this weekend will be good for it. Groundhog shadow or no groundhog shadow.
Absolutely. And we need a little bit of a breather for the travel. Yes, I mean, traveling through the snow belts through the winter, I know people who live there, right? But my scale of bad driving, when I get back to Toronto, I'm like, this is easy. Groundhog predictions rolling in through today. Puxatawny Phil, the most famous groundhog, I suppose, from the Groundhog Day movie out of Pennsylvania, saying more winter. Shubenacadie Sam declared early spring. Fred Lemarmont says early spring. I said that right. Just a reminder of what it means when you have the groundhog predictions. I always have to remind myself, too, 6 more weeks of winter if it's sunny and the groundhog sees his shadow. But if it's cloudy, it's an early spring. So we're kind of, maybe if you want early spring, hoping for the cloudy skies. We had a prediction as well come from Lucy the Lobster. Let's check in on that.
So we're keeping Lucy all bundled up. Here she is. She showed up. Woo! Isn't she beautiful? She loves the attention, everyone. So give Lucy a big round of applause. So, we are putting her here, and it is official. Lucy does not see her shadow. And she is cheering. Look at that claw right up there. Look, there she is.
So early spring, oh, she's popular for today. Taking a look at the radar, we have been seeing snow falling across Newfoundland pretty steadily since last night, and we will continue to see it tapering off in Nova Scotia. Cape Breton inundated with it, but even seeing more of the pinks popping up in the south. That's some mixing, even possibly some ice pellets today in the southern Avalon. Clarenville socked in those high snowfall rates, which could be 2 to 4, 5+ centimeters per hour at times with this event. Taking a look at the peak wind gusts again here, we've seen 76 kilometers an hour for St. John's. It will go up slightly through the day as this low moves out, but the moisture continues to fill in as temperatures are around the freezing mark. So this is not that light fluffy snow. If you've gone out to shovel it already, you've noticed it's more of that back-breaking heavy snow, but good for making snowmen, snow packing, having a snowball fight, an additional 30 to 40 centimeters potentially for St. John's. So we're going to watch to see where this lies in terms of the biggest one-day snowfalls. Now, it did start through the overnight, so we'll have to look at the timing. But take a look at this. The top 10 has the number 10 spot sitting at 54 centimeters back in 2006. The number 1 spot, 101 centimeters. I'll look closely to read that. 1894. Pretty impressive stuff. So more details about the big storm in Atlantic Canada throughout this live stream, but we want to know how Victoria's doing in Wiarton. If you're just joining us, the Groundhog Day predictions are being revealed. We are anticipating Wiarton Willie's prediction for today. What are you hoping for?
Fingers as well. They have special names like the Minister of Hot Air.
Well, I mean, because I'm outside in the cold, and I have been outside in the cold for many hours and multiple days this past past month, I'm really hoping for an early spring. That last storm really in Toronto really got me over winter already. But I am having a lot of fun here, and we are in good spirits at the Wiarton Willie Festival. We have a parade coming right up here. We have some bagpipe players. Let some of the action play out for you so you can hear some of the bagpipers as they come on through. They call this the Wiarton Willie Shadow Cabinet.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have the McLaren Pipe and Drum Band, and they are just fantabulous here with our Shadow Cabinet dignitaries and Willie and his handler.
All right, well, we are getting ready for Wiarton Willie to come on stage. The reveal is just after 8 o'clock, so we are inching closer and closer to the big prediction. Will Wiarton Willie see its shadow or not? We are going to find out. I'm sorry, it's very loud out here, so I can't hear you in the studio right now. I'll send it back to you. I'll send it to Nate out in the nor'easter. How's it going out there, Nate?
Oh, it's going good, Victoria. It's always hard to contend with bagpipes. They're the loudest. I've covered a few ceremonies, bagpipes going, but the other thing that's matching that noise out here in Halifax this morning, the wind, and you're hearing those noises going off. Those are plows backing up. That's the symphony of this morning here in Halifax with this nor'easter. Another Monday, third Monday in a row, people are waking up and shoveling, getting their snow blowers going. I hope you greased it up good, because some 11 centimeters feels like a lot more with these huge snow drifts. I had to dig out of my driveway this morning, and so be prepared for that. Take your time. That's one of the major causes of injury, is when people rush out with their shovel and just try to take it all on at once. You want to pace yourself as you shovel throughout this one. We do have school closures impacting across of Nova Scotia, and impacting Newfoundland as well as this continues throughout the day here. It will wind down for now in Halifax itself, but still a major issue in Cape Breton, Newfoundland. Kevin.
Yeah, it's always impressive to see those storms you have to deal with out there. We get the odd one in Ontario, but nothing like Atlantic Canada. And that storm all originated in the deep south, where now it's pulled all that cold air down into Florida. These are some of the morning low temperatures over the last couple of mornings. Tallahassee this morning, Nicole is showing -2 for a morning temperature. Well, just before sunrise, -7 in the Sunshine State capital. That is not something they're used to or really expect. Yeah, they get cool, but nothing like that. Now, with the lakes closing up, we're going to get more and more of that cold air down the eastern seaboard, and that is where Shubenacadie has forecasted a longer winter, and you can maybe see why. Maybe a little recency bias. It's been cold. It's going to be cold for the next couple of weeks. Pennsylvania right in the thick of it. New York, New Jersey as well. That's where we have the most anomalous cold. And then the anomalous warmth. BC, Alberta, Saskatchewan, the Yukon, the Dakotas. Not a great season so far for ski lovers in BC. I think Quebec and the eastern seaboard snow has maybe taken top prize there. Now, this big anomaly is going to be highlighted by the cold snap coming next weekend. So this week, yeah, it's cold, it's below freezing, it's below normal, but nothing abnormal until we get to Saturday. Will it be -15, 16, 17, 18, maybe -19 for a daytime high parts of the GTA? And the last time we had daytime highs that cold, we'll go back to the last extended polar vortex when we had 32 consecutive days without breaking the freezing mark, and we had a daytime high -19.2, and you have to go back to the 90s before we had the last time it was a daytime high to fail to break the -20s. I know some people are probably sitting back and laughing at us in southern Ontario. If you're in Timmins or Thunder Bay, certainly the prairies, that's just a normal winter day if you're in Winnipeg, Nicole. And I think, I know you're not a winter fan, but it could be a lot worse, and I don't think you would do too well in Saskatoon.
No, but okay, here's the thing. I'm not a winter fan because I ski and make the best of it. It just lasts a little too long. But you know what, Kevin, I want to point out that I want to give like a big clap to our long range forecast from our winter forecast, because we said below average for southern Ontario for temperatures and above average snow, and it's verifying. Right?
It's checking out. Now, it was interesting when we're looking at the abnormals for May or for January for Toronto. We're only about 1.5 degrees below normal, so it was skewed by that. Remember that it was 15 degrees. In southern Ontario earlier in January.
It felt like a dream, to be honest. I don't remember it that well.
Yeah, I honestly totally forgot about it. All I've been thinking about was the -30 I had to drive in just a week ago.
All right. Well, also I've been dealing with wintry weather this year. Parts of Atlantic Canada, rain events, snow events mixed together. This nor'easter has delivered these updated totals for snowfall. Halifax inched up to 12 centimeters since last check, sitting at 24 for St. John's, and we'll see those numbers going up. Current temperatures sitting at -4 for Halifax, with the snow starting to peter out. Labrador City, shout out to you, -36, and -1 for St. John's right now. Now, by the afternoon, it's supposed to climb up to right around the freezing mark for St. John's. So again, keep talking about how this is that heavy, wet, slushy snow that will continue, maybe even a period of mixed precipitation. And here's your afternoon highs across the Maritimes. New Brunswick, you didn't see much with this, right? Just the south saw a few centimeters, so you're doing okay for travel and all the regular things on this Monday. I want to show you a webcam here, St. John's, George Street. I saw someone earlier shoveling in front of their business. Oh, yeah, probably not a lot of customers coming in today. So today it's Groundhog Day. We're tracking big weather across the country, but also the predictions are rolling in, including this famous groundhog stateside.
We look to the future and not just the past. So I suppose this party could use a forecast. It is my job this February 2 to look to the skies and report back to you that there is a shadow here on my ground. 6 more weeks of winter abound.
All right, Puxatawny Phil, 6 more weeks of winter. And so many people are cheering. Are they cheering because they're happy about that announcement or that Puxatawny Phil is basically a huge celebrity? I don't know. We'll never know. That looks like a fun event. We've got Wiarton Willie as well, one of our famous groundhogs that's going to be revealing whether it is a early spring or we've got 6 more weeks of winter. Victoria Fenn Alvarado, you've been there. You've been to Wiarton a few times for this event, and it always seems like so much fun. I mean, I think Wiarton has more fans than I do.
Oh no, Nicole, you are the most loved Weather Network host, and I always love working with you. But I do love working on Groundhog Day. I really do. This is my 4th year now being here in a row, and every year it is a new adventure. Every year I can confirm it's cold. And every year, there's always a lot of snowbanks around here, but I can't say this winter specifically has been quite harsh here for many residents in the Bruce Peninsula. And I've been talking to some people who live here, and everyone's been saying, yeah, this winter has been a rough one. There's plenty of snow around here, but it has not stopped people from showing up to the Wiarton Willie Festival. The festival has begun. We are awaiting Wiarton Willie to head out on stage. It seems like they are starting to get Wiarton Willie coming on out soon. So we are going to bring you the live prediction here just right after 8 o'clock as we start to wake up Willie here at Wiarton. So Groundhog Day, always a fun adventure here. Nate, how is it there out in Halifax?
Well, it is windy, it is snowy. A lot of people choosing to work from home today. Even our groundhog, Shubenacadie Sam, working from home, did not get out to see the shadow, so that means early spring. We also had Lucy the lobster, had to change locations because of the weather, but she also did not see the shadow. You know, lobsters are more used to the cold weather, but the animals agree, early spring. I think everyone wants that here in Nova Scotia. This is our 3rd Monday in a row where we're waking up, shoveling snow, and this will continue throughout the day. Places like Cape Breton, further east, even in Newfoundland, St. John's, the Avalon, getting hammered with this, with blizzard-like conditions, with that orange warning there. So you want to stay in, stay off the roads. I know it was a good call by Shubenacadie Sam. I teased, but there were some incidents on the 102 near Shubenacadie this morning with vehicles ending up in the center median. There are 3 vehicles reported there, so some slowdowns if you're coming into the city. Many schools on a 2-hour delay. We had 12 centimeters, but that's on top of a lot more when you add in these strong wind gusts. It's just blowing everywhere out here, Kevin.
I'm sure that's not going to be the end of the problems on the roads. Even though the snow's stopped, that blowing snow is going to be a concern, and that the icing that's going to result from that. Now, we haven't seen much fresh snow in southern Ontario the last couple of days, but the snowpack, it's pretty impressive. Wiarton, where Victoria is kind of a sitting duck, the Bruce Peninsula. You're right in the middle of Georgian Bay and Lake Huron. You get the lake effect from every angle, essentially, and that northern part of Lake Huron just really doesn't like to freeze up. Yeah, you get the extended ice off of Sauble Beach and Pikes Bay, but there is always going to be at least some open water out there unless it gets extremely cold, and we might get there by the end of the week, but for the time being, that is where we're going to be focusing on the one little risk of some lake effect development by the time we get to Tuesday. So Wiarton should be safe. You should be a little too far north. Your flow is going to be coming down the Bruce Peninsula from Manitoulin, so we're going to be more so focused south of Port Elgin, Kincardine, Goderich, and then inland. I won't be surprised if some of those flurries do get to Stratford. Shouldn't quite get to the 401, but this also won't be a long-lasting event. Now, this is when temperatures are also going to be their mildest. You see all that cloud. That's not the color of the background. That is a whole lot of cloud for the next couple of days, and that's actually going to be when our temperatures are the mildest. So by the time we get to Saturday, when it's minus 15 or 16, really in the teens in southern Ontario, you can essentially lock in that is going to be a sunny day. You have to be basically right under the high pressure to get that cold. And then look at that's kind of evening out in the long range. Hopefully that comes to fruition, because even with all this snow, sometimes it can be too cold to enjoy the winter activity. So I'm thinking about Nicole and her family, and maybe you do want it to only be -3 if you're going out for ski weekends, or just if you're playing some outdoor pond hockey. You don't want it to be too cold. So let's hope for at least the snowpack to continue. I like to think of it until March break. March break can be the transition. Once March break's over, okay, that sun's getting warmer, and now we can switch gears to melting that snow, getting the grass to come out, and then it's springtime. Regardless of what the groundhogs say, Nicole, I want it to last until March break.
Do you ski, Kevin? I never even asked you this.
If I have to, I don't really seek it out, but if I'm ever
Gun to your head,
invited, I'll
ski.
hit the slopes.
You'll hit the slopes. Okay, but what's your winter? You like fishing?
I'm ice fishing and hockey. Those are my go-to.
Ice fishing and hockey. Okay, all right. So Kevin wants a long winter. Well, we've got the question mark of what Wiarton Willie, one of our famous groundhogs in Canada here, and the reveal is happening so soon. We can taste it. Will it be 6 more weeks of winter or an early spring? We are going to check in with Victoria Fenn Alvarado, who has been in Wiarton, and such a fun celebration. They've got the fireworks. Lots of people are always there. It looks like a lot of fun, and the excitement around it is certainly very cool. And we had Punxsutawney Phil, famous groundhog in Pennsylvania, revealing that it will be 6 more weeks of winter. So that was the reveal there. We'll check in on Wiarton, but let's check in on our watches and warnings in Atlantic Canada. The winter storm warnings across a large swath in the pink there in Newfoundland, Cape Breton seeing the winter storm warnings too. Snowfall, the blowing snow is going to be one of the biggest issues, as does high snowfall rates will continue to fall across Newfoundland, creating reduced visibility. Halifax picked up at least 12 centimeters of snow, so certainly some travel disruptions. And parts of Nova Scotia are seeing school closures today for the 3rd time this in a row because of active weather. Take a look at the peak winds for St. John's over the next while, getting close to 100 kilometers an hour. And the snowfall intensity looks like it tapers off as we get you to later today. So it's going to take a little while. Nathan in Halifax, are your kids out of school for today?
They have a 2-hour delay, and I'll tell you, I can't wait to see. I was hoping to spend the day with my son. It's his birthday. He was born on Groundhog Day 6 years ago, and he has to go to school. He already knows what I got him, a GT snow racer. So we're going to go sliding as soon as he gets home from school. So very excited about that. I thought he'd have the day off, but 2-hour delay. So he'll be heading to school here in Halifax. But there still are 24 schools in different areas around Halifax, depending if you're in a rural area that was closed. Strait region, all schools closed there. So you want to check with your school board, of course. And a big problem has been the wind. Not so much just the 12 centimeters of snow, but it's on top of everything else. And the wind picks it up, reduces visibility. And, the plows are having to go back and forth with this snow drifting. And this continues throughout the day in Cape Breton and Newfoundland, Nicole.
Oh, thanks so much, Nathan. Oh, that 2-hour delay for the kids. I mean, the parents are like, oh, thank God. And the kids are thinking, oh, why couldn't we just cancel? I know they love their snow days. All right, the predictions have been coming in. Shubenacadie Sam, early spring. Fred Lamarmont, early spring. And Punxsutawney Phil, more winter. Victoria is in Wiarton. We'll see what Wiarton Willie has to say, but also Manitoba Merv and Balzac Billy. We're waiting for those predictions too. But let's go to Wiarton right now.
From a devilish gentleman, the late Mac Mackenzie.
We're showing you the stage right now as we have the town criers who are just getting prepared to bring Wiarton Willie up on stage. Wiarton Willie not on stage quite just yet. It is quite chilly outside for him, so they need to make sure that obviously Wiarton Willie is safe in these cold conditions. So they're going to wait for the very last minute to bring out the famous Groundhog. We are awaiting the big prediction. It will be at
Sing the tale.
Listen in on some of the action here as the town criers are waking up Willie.
Willie's journey with his brown fur evolved since 1980s into a noble albino, a white marmot, but as fate demands when required, he has reverted to a darker coat.
And throughout 7 decades, despite climate change, doubters and scoffers, barometric chaos, and even offers of bribery, Willie has transmitted in Groundhog ease to the mayor his utmost, absolute trustworthy prognostications.
And recently, in celebration of his 70 years, our Wiarton Willie has nobly volunteered to dig groundhog holes as trenches for our Canadian Armed Forces in Greenland. Yes, Willie proudly proclaims, I am Canadian!
Woo! So now, for the 70th prognostication on Groundhog Day, Wiarton Willie, in his finest groundhogese to Mayor Kirkland, shall do his yearly pronouncement. Early spring or 6 more weeks of winter.
All together now, it's time to wake up Willie!
Wake up Willie! Wake up Willie! Kieran, come onto the stage! So we have Kieran here bringing up Wiarton Willie, the official handler. Do you want to just swing him around? Yep, perfect, excellent. The mayor is going to consult with a little groundhog ease with Wiarton Willie. He's looking at us right now. Hey, Willie. I'll get out of your way, your worship. I'll go the other way. Garrett. Okay, they're conferring. There's no state secrets here that we can share yet, but we will soon know. 8:06, so your worship, we have about 30 seconds. Just if you want to have a second confirmation there, I think you've got all.
He looks quite confident.
He groundhog, so do you.
He'd be going crazy in that cage right now if he wasn't confident.
8:07, your worship.
So we're ready for his prediction?
Ready to rock and roll.
What Willie told me is he did not see the sun. So everybody knows what that means. 1, 2, 3. It's an early spring.
Whoa! The mayor and Wiarton Willie predict an early spring, and I'm not certain if that's going to be his campaign slogan or not, but he's maybe running again, and that will get at least half the crowd happy.
I have to admit, last year when Willie predicted an early spring, there was some doubters, but it did come early and it came fast.
There you go. You got to listen to his worship, and here we have the town criers again.
Oh, yay! As town criers for Willie, we're proud to proclaim, no shadow he spotted, no sunshine he claimed. So once again, the crier's bell did ring. Yes, Willie predicts, now hear this, it's an early spring!
Now return to your spirit of cheer. Bring out the bicycles. Spring is soon to be here. Now Willie remains on the stage, yes, waiting for spring. Safe travels home, and oh yes, God save the king.
Hear, hear. Well done. A big round of applause for our town criers.
What a show they put on there. Now, looks like Wiarton Willie and Punxsutawney Phil are on 2 different teams. Who's going to come out on top? Time will tell. We'll find out in, I guess, 4 or 6 weeks. Now, so if Wiarton Willie is right, then winter has to get its act out of its system over the next 4 weeks, and it's really going to do so over the next week or so in eastern Canada and the eastern U.S. Alberta, you're thinking What winter? Did we even get winter? I don't remember winter happening, but they'll be dealing with temperatures potentially into the teens this week. Now, we won't be certainly that mild in southern Ontario. We'll be dealing with some lake effect as temperatures hold just a few degrees below normal. Wiarton Willie, as he crawls back into his humble abode, he might get some flurries on top of him in the coming days, but not overly likely because of that lake effect. Now, when you look at the forecast, by the time we get to Friday, you'll see a few centimeters in your forecast, likely depending where you are. That's not going to be lake effect. That's going to be a clipper that's diving down from the Northwest Territories. So when they form that far north and they come down to the Great Lakes, they're going to be pulling down a whole lot of cold air on the backside, and that's what we're going to be dealing with next weekend. Nate, you're dealing with this nor'easter. You won't have to deal with that extreme cold by next weekend. So how do you feel about the results from Wiarton Willie?
I think that's just great, Kevin. The Groundhog's in agreement. You know, early spring, great job, Willie. Coming out, Shubenacadie Sam just said, I'm staying in. The ceremony was canceled, so we have an early spring. But it's not feeling like spring out here, especially when you move further east in Atlantic Canada. St. John's just picked up 8 centimeters in the past hour. So just incredible snowfall rates there. So definitely don't want to be out and about in St. John's. School cancellations there. Ferries aren't running between Cape Breton and Newfoundland. It's the wind here in Halifax we're contending it with. You got to bundle up. Some schools on a 2-hour delay here. But I think we'll take an early spring. This is the 3rd snowstorm in a row, Nicole, that's falling on a Monday. Can you believe it? What a way to start the work week.
Oh my gosh. Well, let's see what happens next Monday, right? We are going to have to watch out for that track. Nathan, thanks for your updates. Again, Wiarton Willie revealed, if you're just joining us, it's Groundhog Day movie, right? Early spring, Puxatawny Phil said more winter, however. Want to answer this question before we let you go soon. What do the meteorologists think? Early spring or more winter? Well, no one asked us today except this one person. Everyone wants to know what the Groundhog's saying. Well, we recently revealed our February outlook, and this is what it looks like. So it depends on where you are. Through this month, we're going to see the below average temperatures persist in the blue. Above average continues for BC and parts of Alberta as well. Other areas will be near normal. So I think that for parts of the east, we're going to be extending that winter. And certainly winter is being felt in Atlantic Canada, where Nathan Coleman was. St. John's, as he mentioned, picked up 8 centimeters in the last hour. Those are the type of snowfall rates that will continue. That line showing you the south that's starting to let up slightly, but also we're seeing some mixing. We'll probably see some mixing in St. John's, that snow that kind of pelts your face. It's got the rain snow mix in it. St. John's, Newfoundland, Lodgy Bay Road, a road you don't want to be traveling. By contrast, Corner Brook looks pretty good. Taking you to St. John's Metro, you can see here a deserted scene earlier this morning. The winds, that's what Nathan said were sort of one of the bigger issues today in Halifax. They're even stronger for St. John's and could even pick up slightly through today. Corner Brook showing you the western shores of Newfoundland doing better by contrast. We do have some flakes flying around. We'll pick up some snow, and yes, it's still windy, but the brunt of this is moving across the Avalon towards the inland sections, including Gander. We'll continue to pile up the snowfall. This number will move up in St. John's from 24 centimeters at last check to 12 centimeters in Halifax. So this is a big event that will be wrapping up through today. And on the horizon, there is more snow coming at you in St. John's by Thursday. Looks like we could get another 5 to 10 centimeters. Let's go back to Victoria Fenn Alvarado. How excited are people in Wiarton for this prediction?
Yes, Wiarton Willie has confirmed an early spring ahead. How excited are you guys?
So excited.
I like snow, but okay. Yeah.
I need to ask a question. So you guys are from Cambridge originally. Your first Wiarton Willie Festival experience. How'd you like it?
It was so fun. It was so fun. I encourage everybody to come. It was awesome.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. I also enjoyed it as well. And I hope you all enjoyed watching as well too. So early spring, there you have it. Hopefully we can start putting away our parkas soon. Maybe. I don't know. I'll send it back to you in the studio there.
Thanks so much, Victoria. So Wiarton Willie declared an early spring. We'll continue to update you on what Balzac Billy says today, Manitoba Merv. Do you have any parting words in Halifax, Nathan?
Well, Nicole, beyond the shadow of a doubt, early spring, the Groundhogs agree. Let's bring it on. Let's do this.
All right, Kevin, what do you got to say on this Groundhog Day?
I love Wiarton, but I'm on Team Phil, hoping for Team Phil to come out on top here.
All right, well, thanks for us, Canada. We are going to be concluding our live stream coverage, but continue to watch us on all our platforms as we reveal more and talk more about Groundhog Day and the big storm in the east and your national stories as well.